Alrighty, here we go. It is a brand new Flyers Daily for the 14th of January, 2025. Flyers Daily, as always, presented by Ticketmaster. Make more memories live. Flyers get an improbable, and I'll say improbable for a couple of reasons, an improbable come-from-behind victory over the Cup Champion Florida Panthers. Florida had not lost a game this season when they went into the third period with a lead as they did in this one. It was 2-1 after 2. Not only that, but you look at the way the Flyers started the game, the first 20 minutes, Florida was all over them in the first 20 minutes of this game. They were absolutely all over the Flyers. And they came out of the period up 2-0. They get the first goal of the game. Sam Reinhart, shorthanded, undresses Konechny, who is not a defender, got caught looking at the puck. Reinhart's able to beat Ersson. And then Balinskis gets the goal to make it 2-0, and it's absolutely one that Ersson should have. It's along the ice. Yeah, it's kind of through a defender, but he just didn't get down quick enough. It's my belief he didn't get down quick enough because when you have a lower body injury, goaltenders, while they're still not subconsciously 100% confident in a lower body injury, whether it's an ankle, a groin, a hamstring, whatever it might be, they tend to narrow their stance a little bit and be a little bit more upright. I thought he was a little upright, was unable to get down and seal the ice, and the Panthers go up 2-0. So head to the second period. First shift of the second period, Garnet Hathaway throws an absolute missile hit on a Florida defenseman. And it to me, it was the play that changed the game. Now, they probably talked in the dressing room between periods, for sure. And they talked in, they said, this isn't good enough, and went all through all those things. But it's that first shift, ultimately, that matters. And Hathaway went out there and it was like you were watching a Marvel comic movie where the guy just bats people off him. The superheroes batting like all these huge monsters off him or something. They're flying. That's what he did to Kulikov. Unbelievable hit. Then they went out there, and that same fourth line goes out, and they get the Flyers on the board. It's Hathaway's goal. Got to give some love here to Poehling, even though he didn't touch the puck, and that's who Hathaway was intending to pass it to, and it hit off a Florida defender's stick. It ends up in the back of the net because Poehling is driving the net and gets his stick there. That brings the Florida stick there. That Florida stick's not there unless Poehling's going. Hathaway ends up with the goal, though. Flyers go up 2-1. By the way, that all started, that whole shift where they end up with the goal, started with the Flyers D-zone draw, fourth line on the ice, Flyers third pairing of D. They win the faceoff, they get up the ice, and they score the goal. So head to the third period, up 2-1 in the game. Florida up 2-1, not the Flyers up 2-1. And then at 2:01, how about Noah Cates on the power play? They scored 2 power play goals in the game against Anaheim, and they get their first power play goal in this one at 2:01. Noah Cates picks up the goal and gets the Flyers tied at 2. Boy, has he been good offensively lately. We'll talk about him again in a second. Then at 3:35, a minute 34 later, Flyers get the game tied, and this is what's going to happen. They're going to play a pretty good, complete game, but they're going to get a bad result because the other team is one of the top teams in the league. When Sam Reinhart picks up the power play goal, it's 27th. That makes it 3-2. Florida back up. But Flyers just a couple minutes later on the power play again. What? Back-to-back games with 2 power play goals in them? You're kidding me. Well, it was Morgan Frost at 5:59, just butter soft hands from Matvei Michkov to just lay it out there for him. I thought Frost was great in the game. I thought Michkov was good in the game. I thought Frost had his legs all night. Now, at the end of the game, he made a bad play that Sam Ersson had to bail him out with a bunch of saves. But still, I thought Frost pushed pace in this game, went to the right areas. He gets it tied at 3. Drysdale and Michkov with the assist. And then at 14:09, Noah Cates comes blasting through the neutral zone. Puck gets knocked off his stick at least twice. Second time, it's up in the air, and he bats it to himself off his hand. And he goes in with some back pressure coming, goes in on Bobrovsky on the mini breakaway, pulls it, first of all, drops the left shoulder, gets Bobrovsky to default to his butterfly, thinking that he was going to go along the ice on the left side, and Cates pulls it across his body, backhand, bar down. Torts said it in postgame, and I totally agree with him. The reason he gets that goal is because of the confidence that he's built up here of late offensively. Last year, he would have gone backhand and thrown it right into the pad of Bobrovsky. He wouldn't have the confidence to go bar down. He went bar down there. Forster and Zamula with the assists. Flyers get the 4-3 lead. They protect the 4-3 lead, and they get the 4-3 win. So Noah Cates, it's probably time that we start to change our expectations of Noah Cates, because I'm not saying he's going to score at the pace he's been scoring over the last 12 games, but he's got offensive ability. He's got NHL offensive ability in his game. We know how well he defends, how good he is on the forecheck, how diligent he is with his stick in all zones. But he's got a little finish too. He's got a little playmaking ability too. This is what I love about an NHL season, is watching players that maybe you didn't think were going to peel your eyes back a little bit. I mean, hell, Cates started the season, I think, with 4 or 6 games as a healthy scratch. We know what he was 2 years ago. Last year wasn't a good year for him. Got injured, never got his legs under him. But geez, the way he's playing now, that's a commodity. That's a big commodity. No, it's not a 1C. I'm not going to go crazy, but it's a kind of player you need. So he's been really, really impressive, has Noah Cates. And we look forward to seeing more from him. He's just been unbelievable. So great win for the Flyers. They're going to go right back at it tonight. Columbus tonight on the road, win the last 2 games of the homestand, 6-0 over Anaheim. Great night at Wells Fargo. Get the win last night, 4-3, comeback fashion against Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. And now you go to Columbus tonight, who hasn't played since Saturday, has won their last 4 games. But Brian Smith asked me about the key to tomorrow night at the end of the postgame show, and I said, pack an extra bag. Bring everything that you just did at home in those last 2 games and bring it on the road. Bring that kind of intensity. That the Flyers are in a position now where they can't go, well, we played good, but we didn't get a result. We're beyond that at this point. We're knocking on the door 50 games in, and they better get moving or they're going to not get moving. And tonight's another opportunity. You got to use this recent good play. Take out the Florida first period. Final 40's good. And the 3 periods you played against Anaheim, and take that on the road. Take that show on the road. I'll tell you, I watched that game last night, and after the first period, we did the first intermission. I did the game from home because I wasn't feeling good. I didn't think we'd be talking about a win. There was no way, based on the way that first period went. And then a game goes on, you get a win. And I'll tell you what, this is why sports are great. Sports are great because I had a really bad day yesterday. With everything that I'm fighting, it was one of my worst days. I didn't feel well. I'm achy, everything. And the only thing that made me feel better yesterday was that game last night. Like, I'm going through cancer, and that game last night helped me a ton. I'm talking to you right after it. I wouldn't have been talking to you like this if they lost the game and they tucked tail. That's the power of sports. It took me away from all that crap that I'm dealing with and gave me a good evening. That's what it can do. So to that extent, I say thank you for making my night. I needed it, and they gave it to me. And I want, and I'm not ashamed to say, I want more, a lot more. I am not satisfied. I want this team to get things going right and have your fans feel as gracious as I feel tonight. That's what I hope. So take with those last 2 games you had at home and bring it on the road to Columbus tonight. All right, that's going to wrap up our portion of the game breakdown. I want to get to this interview. I had a chance on Friday to sit down with a couple of Flyers. We're going to feature these interviews. Travis Konechny is going to be our featured guest tomorrow. Sean Couturier on Thursday. But in this episode, it's Travis Sanheim. Now, you'll see if you're watching on YouTube, and if you are watching on YouTube, by the way, hit that. Just give it a nice drop kick to the like button down there. Just give it a little drop kick. You'll notice Travis Sanheim, he's a pretty reserved guy. Salt of the earth, farm boy, and nothing that he's improved at as an NHL player was by accident. This interview is fascinating, and it gets more fascinating as it goes on. You guys, I've talked about this before. I try not to do an interview. I try to have a conversation. And to have a conversation, you have to listen to the person you're talking to so you can have an organic conversation. And this is just where it led us in this conversation. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. I've done a lot of interviews with hockey players in my 30 plus years in broadcasting. And this one was a pretty damn fascinating. So here it is. My sit-down conversation with Travis. New episode of Flyers Daily at Flyers Practice. We're with Flyers defenseman Travis Sanheim. Sandy, how are you?
Good.
First of all, I want to thank you for the nice note you sent.
Yeah.
After I revealed my diagnosis, it means a lot. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
Halfway through the year, how do you kind of assess where you guys have kind of been this year? It's been a little kind of up and down. I feel like you haven't maybe gotten your game to a rhythm.
Yeah.
Team-wise.
I think it's easy to look at the standings and not be satisfied, and maybe be a little bit disappointed with the first half. In saying that, I think there's been quite a few games where we've played some good hockey and we're just not getting the results. And sometimes that's the nature of the business. You play good games and can't get the 2 points at the end of the day. So, it's just staying with it, staying patient. We know it's a process. Like I said, I've liked some of our efforts of late. I think we've done a lot more good than wrong, and just haven't quite gotten the wins. And so, it's up to us to kind of bear down and find ways to win hockey games. Just keep plugging along here, growing as a team, growing as individuals, and pushing to be better every day.
How hard is that to do when, you have those 2 games against Toronto, one of the top offensive teams in the league? You guys really limited them, defended them well. Is that something, as one of the veterans, that you're kind of messaging to the younger guys, we got to stay with it. We got to keep this process, because just because we didn't get the results here doesn't mean we should abandon that process.
Yeah. I think even a team like Vegas, where I thought we were in that hockey team as well. So just playing good hockey teams, and I think just understanding that we are playing some good hockey, and don't open yourself up. I think the minute you get frustrated with the losses and start trying to do too much or do something that's out of kind of your character, and push a little bit harder, and it just ends up more on the opposite side. You ends up in the back of your net, chances against. And I've learned from experience of trying to do too much at times. So just staying within yourself, understanding our system, our team, and that the results will come. And I think that's kind of the message right now, is just staying patient. Something
I'm finding out in extreme measures right now is something that you went through. Sometimes you can't control circumstances or things that are out of your control. The only thing you can control is how you react to it. Your name was out there a couple of years ago. You decided to come in here last season and say, you know what, I'm going to go out there and prove some people wrong, maybe that don't believe in me, or make it, the contract that I earned, I'm going to show them why. Yeah. And then you come in this year and you double down. You go even further. What's the mindset that you went into that with? Was there any moments of, I can't believe my name's out there? Or how do you get to that point to say, you know what, I can control this part, so I'm going to, and I'm going to make it positive for me?
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes it's, I've never been traded in my career, junior or at the pro level. And so until you kind of go through that, I guess, it's a different experience, and you can react one way and you can react another. And
you sit around and pout about it, or you can do something about it.
So I just chose that, I love this organization. I love being in Philly. It means a lot to play here. And so I just wanted to prove that where my worth was at, prove that the reason why I signed the contract that I did, and show this, organization, fan base, and my teammates that, I want to be a part of this moving forward, and try and be a big part of it. Honestly, I wanted to take a huge step, not only to show that, but show, where I'm at, from a league standpoint, and try to take my game to another level. And, obviously I've been able to, do that, but in saying that, I still think there's tons of growth. I think there's,
you're not satisfied,
more to my game that, I haven't necessarily touched, and just continuing to work on it every day. I'm always trying to get better. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned. There's always young guys coming up trying to take your spot. And so you can't be satisfied. The minute you get satisfied, the minute you're out of this league. So for me, it's just every day trying to get better, trying to work on all areas of my game. There isn't one specific area that I think, I'm trying to work on. I think I can continue to develop in multiple areas. And I think it's benefited me, having that mindset, to continue to grow and get better is how you improve your game.
That's incredible, because some players can rest on their laurels after they sign a big contract. Travis Sanheim signs a big one in the offseason. He's having his greatest season as a Flyer as well, pacing towards 90 points and 40 goals. Ultimately, team success is what you want. That's why everybody plays sports. When you go home and somebody says, "How was the game?" Yeah, we won. Yeah. That's the ultimate goal. Yeah. For you guys as a group with the young guys, and maybe expectations aren't where they will end up being for this group. How do you keep that expectation, though, in your head as a group to stay at that and hold yourself to a high level of accountability when maybe others aren't?
Yeah. Just not really listening to the outside noise. I think for us, it's collectively as a group that, we want to take those next steps. And in order to do that, you got to win hockey games. You got to be competing against the top teams in the league. That's where you get better. That's where you figure out what
you learn a lot, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can learn how to handle yourself when it comes to those big teams and big games, and what it takes to win at this league every night. Honestly, it's it doesn't matter who you're up against. It's always a challenge trying to find that consistency. I think that's a big thing with young guys coming in is you can play 1 or 2 good games. Can you do it for 20 games? Can you do it for 30 games? And not having nights off. I think that's something that we're continuing to work on and grow at. I think me and TK being obviously signed here for a while, we want to take it to the next level and build this team and get back to where we think we belong, and that's playing meaningful hockey games and playing in the postseason.
How was it for you to learn what your body, mind, all of that stuff needed to get to this level? Because you didn't come into the league knowing this stuff. You go through it and you learn. You just start to learn, work smarter and off seasons and stuff like that. We see it with Mishkov. Torts has talked about it, learning how to be an everyday NHL player. It's such an unforgiving league.
Oh yeah, it's a grind. And I look back at I can't even believe the strides that I've taken, and I'm not talking on the ice. I'm talking mentally, physically. Treating my body the right way. How I'm working in practices. Am I getting better? Or am I just out there for the skate and getting ready for the game? There's all different ways to look at our game and every day. And, it's crazy what you have to go through to get to that level of consistency and level of play that is needed at this level. And I'm very happy with the strides that I've taken.
You have to love the game too. And you're a guy they have to drag off the ice. You're always out there, last guy at practice, still taking one-timers. Have you always been that guy that just you couldn't get off the ice?
Yeah. I just think there's so much to work on. And in practice, there's not enough time. Usually you're working on team systems or quick little drills to touch the ice and then get ready for the game. And for me, there's just so many little things that
you got your own practice plan.
Like I'm thinking in my head before what I'm going to work on. And I like a lot of one-on-one stuff and just little things. It might even be flicking a puck out of my end zone. It might not look that difficult, but when you're under pressure and you got to try to punt that thing to the neutral zone, it's a lot harder than most people think.
On the backhand, pressure coming.
Yeah, I'm playing my offside, so I got to do it on my backhand. And you got to recognize the pressure. So I'll work on little things like that. I'll work on even just stabbing the puck up the wall. I'll have a forechecker on me, and I got to try to get that by him to the next layer of guys. And there's just little areas that I think a lot of people don't necessarily see when watching the full picture of the game. There's so many little plays that, when I'm watching hockey, I'm looking at how is that D-man making that little outlet pass that you guys probably aren't even worried about. You're worried about how, the rush going up the ice, and I'm worried about how did they get there.
You CSI it.
Yeah. And so there's just so many little plays in the game, and if you can work on it, I think you have to get the level of consistency, you have to get the reps. It's not something that just is going to happen. You have to, see it, be able to do it. I'll be out there and I'll make tons of mistakes. And that's what I'm looking for.
And what's the fix?
Yeah. and it might be something simple. And so it's just continuing to work on that and finding that consistency, and then it's going to show up in the game. And, I've had a lot of success that way. And so I'm going to continue to keep doing that. I got guys coming up to me now asking about one-timers, because, I spent a whole off season trying to figure out my one-timer. I couldn't take one for the longest time coming out of junior and even throughout early pro career. And, I was able to figure it out. I watched a lot of tape on other guys and just little techniques. And, now I got TK on it. Frosty's coming up to me asking about it. And, it's such a process. It doesn't just happen, just pass pucks and guys can all of a sudden hit one-timers.
Yeah.
You have to slow it down. You have to break it down into little pieces. And it might start with your sticks, 6 inches off the ice. And that's how you start taking them. You're getting your contact down, and eventually you're going to work your way up to getting cross ice passes and be able to hit the puck. So just little things like that that's the way I'm viewing the game. And it's a different side of it, but I get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Damn, that was fascinating. Awesome stuff. Sandy, thanks for doing this, man. Best of luck on it coming up, and we appreciate it as always. Great to sit down with Travis Sanheim, and hope that gives some people some insight as to the mindset of Travis Sanheim and how you got to work for every little thing. To do big things, you got to work on every little thing. It was really interesting. So thanks to Sandy for joining us as well. Flyers Columbus tonight. We'll break it down tomorrow. Join us then on a brand new Flyers Daily.